welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today this video is a little bit interesting because I'm going to talk about St. Maarten, which if you've seen in my other previous video, I've been to that island quite often, but I didn't record a lot on this year's trip. I actually try to go, once a year, but here's the thing. I just took pictures of food and I kind of want to show you the food because I'm a little bit craving the food, and honestly I'm just missing the sun after being in New England and then also being in Europe. I'm like missing and depriving the sun. But enough talking about the sun, we're gonna talk about food. All right, so I'm gonna show you places that I went and places I recommend and tips that you should get there. And throughout the time, I'm also gonna show clips of St. Maarten and clips of the food because I think you might be bored of me just talking. Anyways, let's get going. Okay, so the first place I went on my first day on the island is Naruto, which is a Japanese inspired restaurant. I have to say that because I tried their St. Maarten ramen and it has like carrots and oxtail. So if you ever went to Japan, that is like not a thing in ramen. And they also have really good sushi. A little bit expensive, but I have to say the sushi there is actually really good. The next place I went quite often and I highly recommend. I got to meet the owner and the chef, and they are really nice and really friendly. And the thing I would recommend is Face Cafe, which it's in Dutch, which means like party cafe. Anyways, they serve really authentic Dutch food, so if you're craving like a croquette, bitterballen, and all that sort, definitely go there. I'm gonna show you clips because I went there so many times, and then also we went at night, and sometimes they have live band, which is really nice. We missed it, but the bartenders there are also really amazing and nice as well. Another place that I went often that I'm gonna keep talking about, like often at least once every time I go to St. Maarten, is Chesterfield. Chesterfield is located in Philipsburg, which is like the capital of St. Maarten, and they have amazing coconut shrimp. I'm gonna show you the video. Highly recommend. The service is also really nice, and it's not quite expensive given that it is in Philipsburg. So yeah. All right, so the next place I highly recommend, I guess for drinks and you want to be a tourist, because most of the times you are a tourist, it would be going to Sunset Bar at Maho Bay. And now you're thinking like, okay, so it's a tourist trap, but they give you like these really big souvenir things where you can get like the slushies, and it's cheaper than actually their drinks. So vacationing on a budget, but you can actually bring the tube again another time if you're especially staying in like the hotels near Maho for like people who are into inclusive resort. So now you have a cheap deal on, I guess, like frosty frozen drinks. What am I saying? Like a frosty? Like this is not Wendy's. Okay, now let's talk about another place that we go often. It is in Simpson Bay, which most likely where everyone would be if you are into like the clubbing and nightlife culture. But this is Johnny B's, and they have like the, I guess, the classic Caribbean food: fried fish, grilled fish, and the Caribbean lobster. It is not expensive, but it is still expensive because it's still Simpson Bay, so keep that in mind. But the food, really good. I try to go in that area at least once per trip as well, but I have noticed that the price have definitely increased, so just keep that in mind. So definitely ask how much the lobster would cost, because before when I first went, it wasn't too bad. Now I'm like, it's comparable to their like neighbors, which are like the tourist traps. And then my neighbor's like blasting music that matches the vibe. Okay, so the next place we went is Lottery Farm. So we're now on the French side of St. Maarten, and this place is really good food, and it's not too expensive because, you know, we're in France when we're in St. Maarten on the French side. So the best thing is like their ceviches. Their drinks are okay. I think drinks here are a little bit more expensive compared to everything around the island, but I guess they're cute. But the food is the memorable part, and I highly recommend getting menu off the special. So like anything that's on like the board versus their classic like menu, because I feel like the ones on that board are low-key is delicious and it's not boring. Like they have like classic American food, you know, the fries and the chicken, but there they would be like, you know, there's conch salad. I think I got like curry chicken. Yeah, so highly recommend that. Do that place. And yeah, and it's also a great place to just chill at the restaurant if you are not doing the whole lottery farm experience. This is not an ad for them, so I'm not gonna talk about anything related to them, but when in St. Maarten, a lot of people would go there. Okay, the next place is highly recommended by a lot of locals, and as someone who just went to Japan, this is the Ginger restaurant, which is around Simpson Bay as well. And I gotta say, they make their sushi really colorful. I think that's the only picture I took. It is not like Japan at all, but I think it's good in terms of like the quality of the fish and like the size and the price, especially on the island. So highly recommend going there. And I also think the people serving there was also really nice. And that's gonna be a trend that I noticed, that everyone's really nice, but I've definitely took it for granted because I went to other restaurants that I'm not gonna talk about that I went in St. Maarten, and they could choke and I would not give a fuck. So yeah, I'm gonna continue. Some of them are nice, not all places are nice, but the places I'm recommending you, I'm also, you know, just telling you like their service and the quality of food, because that's what you're going for. But I also realize that if you are paying, you know, the service gotta be good. All right, so the next place I went is Hang Fung, which is a Chinese restaurant in Simpson Bay. They take like a Chinese take on a lot of traditional Caribbean things. So especially like conch, which I got the classic French stuffs like a wonton soup, which is quite accurate everywhere I've been to, as someone who went to Asia and someone who just went to Hong Kong. So that's actually pretty accurate. And then, you know, the classic, what do I want to say? The classic, you know, chicken wings. And then they are known for their sauteed potatoes, so, which is a pretty Caribbean dish. I think I'm gonna show you a clip. It's really good here too. A place that I actually didn't record that much and I went is actually the Yacht Club in Simpson Bay. I went there quite often to the point we actually know the bartenders, but didn't record a lot of place. Ambiance is really nice, the bartenders are nice, but the food is very basic, like basic. Like, but if you're interested in like basic, like a pasta, a burger, a salad, a wrap, then that's there. But if you also crave like an American breakfast, I think this is the only place that does like an American breakfast, like the pancakes and the bacons and the eggs. So that. Another place, now we're going back to the French side, is Friars Bay. I went to a place I think called 978, which is right on the beach. I gotta say, the food is pretty good, the acras, and I think that's all I really could remember. The drinks are cute looking, but that's it. And you have to pay for the beach chairs, so keep that in mind. Yeah, the first time I went last year was really great. Maybe because if I spoke French, they would have been a little bit better. But I think it was okay. Yeah. Here's some pictures of acras, which is another Caribbean dish that I really love. Okay, so another place we went is Mr. Chow. So we're back at Maho, back at the touristy spot, back at throwing a lot of money and making it work. But Mr. Chow is another Asian inspired restaurant. I have to keep saying inspired because it has Asian things, but it doesn't really taste like exactly. It's catered to, you know, the locals. It's catering to the tourists, which I feel sometimes are Americans and Europeans, because the spice level sometimes is not hitting. But I think the place is a really cute, like, romantic vibe. You know, it's aesthetic. It's an outside-ish restaurant and like a bustling city walk, so that's something I would say. The food is okay. I am gonna show videos. I love udon, and that's that. I definitely think going to Japan really tainted my well, not tainted, my expectations are much higher than it should. I should lower it down, especially if I'm not in Japan. Okay, so we went to this new place. We also like to try new like restaurants that open in Simpson Bay, or just like in on the island. So this one, I think it's called like balls and wine. So they serve like really fancy wine and balls, like meat balls, fish balls, pork balls. But they also serve like tapas, which like truffle fries and like connie sticks. Highly do not recommend buying connie sticks and also the truffle fries, because it's tapa style, but you're not paying tapa style prices. So keep that in mind. That being said, this place is really good for their chocolate cake. I think their wine was okay too. Honestly, I can't even remember, so I don't. Moving on, but I'd highly recommend the balls. The fish ball is really good, the beef ball is really good, and like the set of sauces they have, delicious. So I think that's pretty it, but it's quite more expensive. I would do this especially for like a date vibes. I'm gonna just end it with like 2 more restaurants because I feel like this is now a 12-minute video. I feel like you guys might get bored of me, but all-time favorite, my pizza place is Pizza & Co., which is in Simpson Bay. This is the pizza I always get. I dream about this pizza. I think about this pizza. Literally nothing in like Netherlands could compete with this pizza, and that's saying a lot. And the French side pizza, I went to the Yacht Club in Marigot, and that's also decent too, but it's like French style pizza. So the big difference is like the Simpson Bay one is more Italian, so it's more fluffier, and then the French is more flatter. And the seasoning and the toppings, you know, the arugula in the French pizzas and stuff. But both are really good. Both are very different, but still as great. I want to take a bit to talk about like dim sum. I was craving dim sum and I was craving chicken feet. So didn't even record the chicken feet video, but we went to this place in Phillipsburg, and I think it's called Pink Pearl, and it's actually really good and quite affordable for Phillipsburg as well, and just dim sum in general on the island. I believe there's only like 2 dim sum on the whole island, and they're on the Dutch side. But this place is actually really good, portion wise, typical dim sum style, small plates. But I think the pricing, it didn't come out as way too expensive as well, so highly recommend going there. And I don't know if they do dim sum every day, but they definitely do it on the weekends. Okay. And I'm just gonna end it and just talk to you guys about my favorite second home in there, which is the Van Dorp, which means from the village in Dutch. But this place is like an office working space, but also sells like office supplies. But they have a cafe, and I used the workspace the entire time there. But what I really enjoyed was, you know, their lattes and their pastries. Love their almond croissants. I love whatever they have. Like, so they have a different variety every time. I don't know if they really make it, but it's pretty good, and it's included like 1 pastry and 1 drink in if you do their workspace. So highly recommend. The girls are really friendly. that's all I could remember because I went there every single day. So I basically lived there during my 9 to 5. It's a great place for digital nomadic people or entrepreneurs. But yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say. I don't want this video to be so long, but I really enjoy food in St. Maarten. I'm gonna enjoy editing this video because I'm gonna miss the sun. I'm gonna miss the weather. So yeah. All right, bye everyone. The video. We climbed all the way over there. Yeah.